Absolutely. Just like our name, we do two things: engagements and technologies. That's in our DNA. What we do is we developed a comprehensive technology platform that allows us to marry consumer intent with the right curated, expertly curated content at the exact moment for critical need.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm happy to be here today with Zi Tang, Chief Marketing Officer of Engage Technologies Group. How you doing today, Zi?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Andrew.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I appreciate you spending some time with us here today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about Engage Technologies Group.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Engage Technologies Group. We're a relatively young company. We were founded back in 2018. I joined the company about a year ago, and that was January last year. I moved from Seattle to Boise, and before joining Engage, I was the head of marketing operations for Microsoft US.
Yeah, a little company, yeah.
Yeah. Not too big in Seattle.
So obviously you like change in your life. Tell me about going from a giant pool like Microsoft to Engage Technologies Group.
This is funny you mentioned this because in Chinese, there's a saying, a sparrow might be small, but it has the same organs as an eagle. That's exactly how I feel. The job is not fundamentally different. We still need to do almost exactly the same things. It just, in the end, there might be a few less zeros when you look at the balance sheet.
Well, I would imagine, and you currently live in Idaho now, right? It requires fewer zeros to live well in Idaho than it might in Seattle, I would imagine.
That's probably true as well. Fortunately, Seattle is not too far away. If I really wanted to drive for 5 hours, I can go to Seattle.
There you go. So tell us a little bit about Engage Technologies Group and what they do.
Absolutely. Just like our name, we do two things: engagements and technologies. That's in our DNA. What we do is we developed a comprehensive technology platform that allows us to marry consumer intent with the right curated, expertly curated content at the exact moment for critical need. That's what we do. Because we were matching those two, crucial elements at the same time, we generate tremendous results for our customers.
Okay. And any particular industries or niche or verticals you service?
Oh, absolutely. Currently, we are primarily in the healthcare industry, so mostly solving problems between doctors and patients. We also find that our technology can work in pretty much in any industry as long as there's a knowledge gap to be closed, as well as communication efficacy to be improved. And alongside of the technology, we can also generate a lot of actionable intelligence. So as long as those are the three problems you want to solve, that's the industry we can serve.
Oh, I can't think of an industry where those criteria aren't met, right? There are knowledge gaps and communication gaps in any industry that need to be improved. What's the origin story of Engage Technologies? How'd the company start?
Well, I like superhero movies. That's why I like origin stories. As we mentioned a little bit earlier, we were talking about how Engage was founded in 2018. We saw exactly those three problems we just mentioned. We started in the healthcare space because we saw there tremendous knowledge gap between patients and doctors. Doctors might explain the same thing to the patient 20 times. Whether the patient gets it or not, it's hard to tell, right? And also, as doctors trying to explain your conditions, your options, the time might be running short because the doctor needs to move on to the next patient. So again, the doctor just repeats, and we don't know if that's working. And it's hard to tell if the patient receives that information effectively as well. So that comes to the second problem, communication efficacy. So we really wanted to solve those problems and be able to use intelligence to really tell doctors, is this working or not?
Okay, so Explain a little bit how the process works. How do you fill that gap in knowledge and communication between doctor and patient?
Absolutely. We had a hypothesis. Our hypothesis is, well, if there's a knowledge gap and there's a communication efficacy issue, as well as lack of intelligence, well, we'd be able to leverage the top behavior changes among consumers today to drive behavioral changes. Those top consumer behavioral changes are really short form videos, episodic videos preferably, as well as mobile first text messages. If we combine those three things and build a technology platform, allows us to not just host the episodic video series, but also be able to intelligently distribute that story to patient at the exact moment of their milestones in their path to recover or in the path of treatment. That way, they need that information, and it's critical information for their health. It really switched the dynamic from a push system, pushing the information to you, to a pull, right? The patient need that information. And the short form videos tells the story based on where they are along their milestone. So they digest that information more effectively as well.
Well, you're catering to the short attention span generation we currently live in, where people talk into their phone and whatever the answer that they see first, that is the answer. So obviously that's a very, very effective way to approach people. And how does Engage generate revenue in this situation?
Our top customers are really SMBs in the B2C space, as well as enterprises in the B2B to C space. And I can unpack for you a little bit more, right? So think about our primary use case. For example, doctors, patients, right? That's our primary use case. Doctors wants to educate their patients about, well, you have cataract. You need cataract surgeries. Patients freak out. Oh, what do I do now, right? Right at that moment, we send them the strip sequence, episodic short videos for the patients to understand their conditions, their options. We don't necessarily want them to settle for the cheapest option per se, because that's not gonna, they need to understand that doesn't solve their entire problem. If they really want to have a good quality of life for the remaining 20, 30, 50 years of their life, they might as well choose something that really works for different kind of ranges, right? So our primary case is for SMBs, kind of like doctors' practices, be able to integrate with their practice management system, automatically trigger this kind of educational series to patients through their patient management system, right? So the doctors don't even need to lift a finger. Whenever the patients schedule an appointment based on the appointment type, that relevant curated expert information gets automatically distributed to the patients. That's our primary use case. Now, you ask us who else we generate revenue with. Actually, there's a lot of enterprise customers want to work with us as well. Think about cataract manufacturers, for example, right? There's doctors sitting between them and the patients in order to sell vision care solutions, right? How do they gain that patient access? We are their solution. So they have the incentive to actually partner with us to build a journey that it kind of explains their solution, their technologies, as well as mobilize their entire sales force to install our solutions in hundreds, thousands of doctors' practices so that they can really gain that patient access. So we really build our revenue based on B2C as well as B2B2C.
Well, that's brilliant. I mean, there is a tremendous information gap between doctor and patient, and many people don't realize that they have to be their own medical advocates. They truly do, and they have to go do research to find out what's really going on. So that's an important gap to fill.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to mention something real quick, not just the knowledge gap, right? When you just mentioned attention span, also think about knowledge or information retainment, right? So most people forget probably about 20 to 50% things the next day, right? So be able to change that knowledge into bite sizes, easier for people to remember. That's a key as well.
Absolutely. And it's there for them to refer to as many times as necessary. Yeah. No, that's fabulous. I typically would ask you what makes you guys stand out from your competitors. Do you have competitors that are implementing this sort of technology in the space?
That's,
Are you
that's
guys
a great
carrying the
question.
torch down the mine shaft, as it were?
Everybody has competitors, right? So I just want to be very, transparent. We do have perceived competitors. However, here's the interesting thing. When we went to Gartner and says, hey, help us understand our competitive landscape. Gartner did the research and gets back to us and says, wow, it's interesting. It doesn't look like you're sitting in any one of those kind of buckets: marketing automation, CRM, or patient education, learning management system, mobile intelligence. You are really just kind of sitting in the conjunction of a lot of things. So they showed us, well, you kind of have competitors, but you sort of don't.
Well, that's a good place to be, right? I mean, you're looking over your shoulder and you're concerned with it, but you're keeping yourselves ahead. So that's a good place. That's a good problem, right? Not having,
Absolutely.
yeah. Is there a type or size of company you work best with?
I think, well, our goal is to be able to serve as many. Well, first, let me kind of share our mission a little bit, right?
Okay.
Our mission is to empower people and organizations with timely knowledge from trusted relationships, right? That really is a broad audience. Really, we want to be able to help not just patients. Currently, we're in the healthcare space, but as long as there's a knowledge gap, we would like to service insurance industry. We would like to service financial services, retirement, vet, et cetera, even technologies, right? So there's a broad audience. However, at this moment, as of our growth stage, we don't necessarily want to spread too thin. That's why we're really focusing on servicing our current industry. So to your question a little bit, as much as we hope we can serve every person, every organization, our most ideal customers today are really the two groups I just mentioned: SMB, mostly kind of doctors to patient kind of use case, and enterprise in the B2B to C space, where they wanted to get that market access by not bypassing, but working through the middle B.
I typically ask, what the last couple of years have been like, because COVID has provided
Mm-hmm.
obstacles, challenges, and opportunities. But tell me how Engage has been able to grow through the pandemic.
I have to say that initially was difficult. I have to I probably have to relay the information I heard a little bit, right? Because I didn't join the company until last year. What I heard initially was difficult, but soon we discovered that, there's a healthcare worker shortage, there's high turnovers, and doctors in the past, if they had the luxury to explain the same things and over again, now they might not. And they needed to find some digitized way to be able to get the same things done. That's when we see a tick off in our growth. We started to work with top manufacturers, for example, Alcon in the vision care space, be able to run a pilot and say, hey, we have a hypothesis, the same one that I just shared with you a little bit before. Can we meaningfully move the needle in some of the practices that we select? We run the pilot together. Not only we're seeing some of those practices seeing 25 to 221% higher conversion, but also even through Alcon's own research, we're be able to see meaningful market share gain just through this pilot. So COVID, it's really a double-sided sword. I feel sorry for people who really got significantly impacted during that period of time. Same time, we felt the pain at the very beginning. As we kind of grow out of COVID, our technology gets much higher adoption as well, just simply because we are able to scale in a way that people cannot.
No, that's fabulous. And frankly, you take the burden off the doctors. They have to be so thankful for your technology to not be repeating themselves over and over. And frankly, falling on ears that don't necessarily understand a large percentage of what they're trying to pass on. So that's win-win on both sides of the equation, right?
Absolutely.
Tell me what value content marketing has played in the growth of Engage.
That's a great question. If you look at what we offer to the market, we actually offer content as well, short form, bite-sized video series, right? So content marketing absolutely plays a significant role for our company, not just as a way to generate revenue. In combination with technology, it's our revenue source. But also, think about ourselves, right? We also need great content. We can have the best campaign in the world, but if there's no content to convey a message, to convince people for the call to action, we won't be able to move any needle. So it's significant for our own marketing activity as well.
As you know, you are speaking my language.
I'm glad I can.
Yes, it's a good thing because I obviously I can't speak yours. Switch gears.
I'm humble.
What is something that you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally a year from now?
That's a great question too. So, as you know, I moved to Boise from Seattle a year ago, actually almost a whole year ago. When I moved my family from Seattle, I told my daughter, hey, I'm going to grow a unicorn for you. And she was excited, right? I don't think it's realistic for us to expect a unicorn 12 months later. However, for all the hardworking engagers from Engage Technologies Group, I think we will probably be happily celebrating if we can get half a unicorn next year.
half of a unicorn. I would imagine that's the weird half.
Well, let's just say a smaller unicorn, right? So half unicorn sounds a little scary, actually.
Seriously. So, what would Engage like to be celebrating a year from now? Although if you can grow a unicorn, obviously you will own the world, and that's that. So,
So if we want to make this a little bit more tangible, I would say be able to, we so far have been on a trajectory to double our revenue every year.
Wow.
I would be looking for an explosive growth year for us this year. If I'm going to shoot for the moon, I'm going to say, I'll be happy if we can triple our revenue this year. If that's the case, I would hope to triple our size, our valuation 3 times by 12 months later as well. I think that will be something all hardworking engagers be celebrating for 12 months later.
Well, if Engage was going to poach the right guy, I think they have made their choice wisely, sir. And I wish you all the best on that endeavor. Please tell us what URL everyone can find Engage and what social media channels they can find you on as well.
Absolutely. Our website is www.engagetg.com. And you can find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. And we are under the name Engage Technologies Group.
Zi Tang, Chief Marketing Officer of Engage Technologies Group. It's lovely to chat with you. I appreciate you spending some time with us today on Business Ninjas. Best to you and yours, and Engage.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.